Hello, and a warm welcome to our show, Love Athletics. In this program, we bring you the latest highlights from our sport with expert input from different continental areas. And we're delighted to have with us again Cuban Canadian journalist Javier Clavelo. Hello, Javier. Lovely to see you, and a big thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Anna. Thank you for the opportunity. Excited to be here and again enjoying a great summer, and also looking forward to another busy rest of the summer around the world as it pertains to athletics.
Thank you. So today we conclude our continent by continent analysis of perspective for the World Championships, and of course we'll focus on NACAC. But before that, let's review the athletics news of the past 2 weeks, including several age category competitions. So let's start with the NACAC under 23 and under 18 championships held from 21 to 23 July in San Jose, Costa Rica. That was a while ago, but it made sense to discuss the competition with Javier in our program focusing on the NACAC area. So Javier, tell us, what athletes impressed you the most at these championships?
Sure, Anna. Again, full credit to Costa Rica that was selected at World Athletics Federation for in 2021. The country, before we delve into the actual athletes, the Central American nation hosted this event in the midst of the pandemic under very challenging circumstances in 2021. And then now hosted the third edition for the U18 Championships. The under 23 dates back to the year 2000. Here, fresh from her USA Nationals final, Mia Brahe Peterson, she had an excellent weekend in Costa Rica, obviously, with she claimed the 100 and 200 and 4 by 100 meter relay triple. And of course, for many of the up and coming athletes in the region, there was an opportunity to really test where things there were primarily for many of these athletes towards the end of their season. So again, Mia was the highlight of that competition. We also have other athletes from the United States like Jermaisha Arnold that clocked a very respectable 50.68 in the 400 meters. Hunter Garrettson in the pole vault with a new championship record for the under 23 category at 561 meters. And I'd like to also highlight some of the individual performances from athletes from the Caribbean. Adrian Curd of Jamaica taking the 100 meter title in 10:08, and Handel Robin of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Earlier in the month, he claimed a historic goal for his island nation at the Central American Caribbean Games for senior athletes in El Salvador. And again, 3 weeks later, he claims another goal for St. Vincent and the Grenadines. So very prospective, a lot of talent for this young athlete. And also, again, switching from the U20 category with a medal last year at the World Under 20 Championships in Colombia. Now, Keyshawn Strong of the Bahamas with a very respectable 78.37 meter in the javelin. So that's worth noting as well. If we remember, this is an under 23 and under 18 age group competition. I was referring to the under 23. In regards to the younger athletes, there's a lot of talent in the name of Michelle Smith of the U.S. Virgin Islands. She ran the final at the World U20 Championships in Colombia last year, and again posted a respectable 56.99 in the 400 meter hurdle. So there's a lot of talent for this young athlete. And another very much talent also in the horizontal jump coming from 16-year-old Imani Matthew of Trinidad and Tobago, who posted another competition record in the long jump with 7.71. So we'll sure hear these names as their career progresses in not only in the Caribbean and Central American context, but beyond as they move up with their careers. So that's Anna in a nutshell. But more importantly, it's nice to see the competition in full force with obviously a much limited participation 2 years prior in the same nation, Costa Rica, during the pandemic. But again, this is an important competition that, again, it's only the third edition for the U18. And again, a gathering of great athletes across the North American and Caribbean region.
Thank you, Javier. Now, some days, 10 days later, top young athletes from the area were again taking part in a major championships, as the Pan Am Under 20 Championships were held between 4 and 6 August in Mayagüez, Puerto Rico. So, Javier, what athletes impressed you the most at that event?
And this is this is an event that is so dear to me. I was starting my career back in '97 in my native Cuba. I met very good friends in the athletic world. We'll switch into the athletes in a moment, but just to put some context here, this is an event that has been around for 43 years. First held in Canada in 1980, and just to paint a picture, in the last before this event in Puerto Rico, hosting the competition for the first time ever, we've had the likes of Alison Dos Santos. And we also have the likes of Athing Mu of Brazil and the United States. As you know, how much obviously they claim Olympic medals only 2 years later. That event was held in Costa Rica in 2019. And see the depth of talent that comes from the region, and again as we add the entire continent. This time around there was no exception, even though obviously we were in the previous 3 editions we were somehow delighted with a form of a world record or world record pending, whether coming from the women's javelin or primarily in the relays. And this time around, while they were not necessarily records, but a 4x100 meter relay of the United States, a very respectable 42.89 coming very close. And what happens is this is a golden opportunity for athletes coming from, if I take the United States, coming from various colleges and high schools. When they come together, it only happens at an international event. It does not necessarily happen in a domestic competition. Hence why this is so much magic, because it's a very unique combination of the best talent, primarily in their relays. So just again, that was one of the highlights. Shawnti Jackson, the daughter of Bershawn Jackson, the 400-meter hurdles world champion dating back to 2005. He remains very much involved now, as we can see across various continental and regional events now as a track parent. And then, of course, Shawnti is enjoying an excellent season, going sub 8:11 seconds. This time around, she focused. Here's the photo courtesy of a good friend, Fernando Neris, running in lane 6, dashing to a 22:35. So the weather conditions were really optimal for fine sprinting here. And Shawnti clocked at 22:35. That really places her high up, I believe, number 6 on the all-time list. And again, she's only 18, so she will have an opportunity, maybe even to claim her first global medals if she attempts to participate next year at the World U20 Championships. And Elise Cooper right there in lane 4. This is a young girl born in 2007, so only 16 years of age. Massive improvement of over a second outdoors, now going down to 22.80. She was pushed by Shawnti in that Sunday 200-meter final to 22.80. And of course, that ranks her very high up as well, top 10 on the EU18 world list. So excellent performances by athletes. But I'd like also to mention there was a couple of athletes from Nicaragua and El Salvador as well. Nicaragua and Costa Rica, rather, primarily in race walking, that did a tremendous performance as well. First goal ever for these two nations at a Pan American U20 level. So, and you see 60 nations claiming medals. That speaks to obviously the depth of the talent that is there. You see, the athlete from Costa Rica as well in the 10-kilometer walk here, and of course that's Sharon Herrera from Costa Rica. And again, that was the very first goal event of the competition. And I'd also like to mention Gabriel Alvarado of Nicaragua. That really he was a sprint to the line here. This is the 10-kilometer race walk. But again, an opportunity for smaller nations to really show that they're really making progress and they're really embracing athletics across the various events. So I really like to highlight that. There was obviously presence from other athletes who won medals the year before at the World U20 Championships. It's glad to see their progress. That was the case of Manuela Rotundo of Uruguay in the women's javelin. So it's nice to see these athletes still in the U20 category to continue to make progress and to stay very competitive. And I'm sure we'll hear from them. Like I mentioned, 3 years prior, we had Athing Mu and Alison Dos Santos. Look what they're doing now. And again, the list goes on and on in this 43-year history of the Pan Am U20 Championship. So a very busy July and early August for athletics in the Americas, obviously including obviously national championships across the continent.
Thank you, Javier. Now, to conclude our review of the Pan Am Under 20 Championships, let's take a look at the medal table. And that, of course, was dominated by the US with a total of 58 medals, of which 28 gold. And I'm sure you'll be happy to see Canada in second, 6 golds and 16 medals in total. Now, these are the only 2 countries that won more than 1 gold. All the others who didn't pass, even Jamaica, 1 gold, 6 silver, and 4 bronze. So that's an interesting change, I think. In total, 9 countries won gold medals and 16 won medals.
For a number of these athletes, as you know, Jamaica and all the Caribbean nations, their highlight of this category will be the Carifta Games, usually held during Easter. And again, some of the athletes, depending on when they're adding their season, they may already choose to shut their season down. But there's one event also, Anna, for the U20. And that's obviously younger athletes. This is the Commonwealth Youth Games currently being held in Trinidad and Tobago. And that is a big commitment for a multi-sport event for athletes in the Caribbean. Hence, the more of the calendar might be a factor here. But like I said, no lack of talent and at every edition of this event, very well hosted by Puerto Rico for the first time. So again, credits to the hosting nations.
Yes, I saw that Alana Reid, for example, is competing at the Commonwealth Youth Games rather than Mayagüez. So, as you said, really very, very busy few weeks for the young athletes from the region.
And actually, just to correct, Alana Reid was the only winner from Jamaica at those Pan Am U20. Like I said, but again, depends also on when these events do happen. And same goes to Brazil as well. They only have 1 single gold coming in the men's 200. But like I said, they also have the South American Championships earlier. So it's a combination of many factors, but I'm glad to see that some of them are really continue to have their career progress, regardless of the setting that they choose to compete. And like I said, I can't wait to see them progress and improve as their career as they get older in not only in the Americas but beyond, across various events.
But Commonwealth Youth Games finished today, so they have a chance to maybe get another medal or 2.
Why not? The more the merrier.
Yeah. So at the same time as the Pan Ams, the Universiade was taking place in Chengdu in China. Now, among the men, the best marks came in the sprints and hurdles, while among the women, it was again hurdles, but also jumps. So let's take a look at the best performances. The best men's event was the 400-meter hurdles with a very high-level competition. Mingyang Pen of Taipei winning in 48.62 over Turkey's Ismail Nezir 48.72. Xie Jiyu of China 48.78, and Berke Akjam also of Turkey, not far behind in 4th place and 48.93. So that was definitely the most high-level competition, also because of the depth of different athletes. In the 110 hurdles, which is the second best performance, Ken Toyoda of Japan ran 13.29 in the final, and he had already clocked 13.40 in the heats. 400 meters also very good with João Coelho of Portugal and Reese Holder of Australia, both timed in 44.79. And finally, the 100 meters, where Jamaica's Kadrian Goldson defeated pre-race favorite Sean Maswangani of South Africa to take the win, 10.04 to 10.06. Among the women, the best race was the 100-meter hurdles with Victoria Forster of Slovakia clocking 12.72 over Yanni Wu of China, 12.76, and Jyoti Yaraji of India, 12.78. So very good performances. And Yanni Wu had already clocked 12.98 in the heats. In the high jump, very good results for Ghana's Rose Yeoba, who cleared 1 meter 94. Now she had a PB of 185 before the competition, so that's a big improvement for Yeoba. 400 meters, Alice Muraro, 400 hurdles, Alice Muraro, 55.48. And in the pole vault, Angelica Moser, who of course is well known on the circuit, with 4 meters 62. Now, another age category championship was taking place this week, and that is the European Under 20 Championships, held from 7 to 10 August in Jerusalem. The best performance of these championships came in the men's long jump, and the win, as expected, went to Italy's Mattia Furlani, who landed at 8 meters 23, just 1 centimeter shy of his legal PB set in early June. But the Italian, who had double gold in the long and the high jump last year in the same venue at the European Under-18s, was pushed all the way by Božidar Saraboyukov. The Bulgarian's PB before the championships was 7 meters 97, which had earned him 4th place in the Euro Indoors in March. But in Jerusalem, he surpassed himself, placing 5 jumps over 8 meters, with the best just 1 centimeter behind Furlani, to move to equal number 14 in the under 20 all-time list. So let's take a look at the best performances in Jerusalem. Among the men, 110 hurdles, Enzo Diesel of Austria clocked 13.12, which is just 1/100th of a second off his PB from May, which is number 9 in the under 20 all-time list. And he had also run 13.13 in the heats. So very good championships for Diesel. Long jump, as we saw, very good competition with Mattia Furlani at 8.23 and just ahead of Božidar Saraboyukov, 8.22. In the discus throw, very good performance by Mikhailo Brudin of the Ukraine, 66 meters 58, which is equal number 14 on the under 20 all-time list. And just yesterday, excellent decathlon with Amadeus Greber of Germany, totaling 8,209 points, ahead of Austria's Matthias Lasch with 8,052 points. Now that should be number 3 in the all-time lists under 20 decathlon for Greber, and number 13 for Matthias Lasch. Among the women, the star of the championships was Latvia's middle long distance runner Agate Kaune. Now, normally long distance races are kind of tactical events at championships, but Kaune went all out in both her races, but especially in the 5,000, where she clocked the best performance among the women with 15:03.85. The sprint relays were also very good, with Germany in 43.82 and Great Britain and Northern Ireland second in 43.85. In the 100-meter hurdles, Rosina Schneider, very good in the final, 13:06, and she had already clocked 13.13 in the heats. 400 meters, very good mark by Czech Republic's Lourdes Maria Manuel, 51.94, and in the long jump, a PB for Tabea Eitel of Germany with 6 meters 59, while again Agate Kaune in the 3,000 meters, 8:53.20. So some great performances there. Also to note the German ladies' podium sweep in the discus throw with Curly Brown, Milena Wepiwe, and Lea Borke. Number 2 of the season's list and European leader, Emma Stralla of Sweden, had unfortunately no measured in the qualifying. And there was also drama for the precocious multi-eventer Jana Koschak of Croatia, who was forced to pull out of the heptathlon after 3 events after a hamstring injury in the shot put. The 17-year-old Koschak was the 10th best senior result of 2023 and had also received an invitation from World Athletics to compete in her best event, the high jump in Budapest, where her PB is 1.92 meters. So hopefully the injury is not too serious and she will be able to compete at the World Championships. Now, among the gold medal winners in Jerusalem, several, and all of them had also won gold at the under 18 last year, has famous parents or relatives. So let's take a look at the sporting families. Michailo Brudin, who won the discus throw, is the grandson of the great Faina Melnik, who won gold for the Soviet Union in 1972 Olympics. Melvin Lieke Holm won the high jump, and his father is Stefan Holm, 2004 Olympic champion and 4 times world indoor champion. Frederick Wiegel of Germany is the son of Ronald Wiegel, who is also his coach and who is the 50K gold at the 1983 World Championships. And finally, Serbia's Angelina Topic in the high jump is the daughter of 2 very talented athletes. Her father, Dragutin, who is also her coach, was the 1990 European champion at age 19 and was 4th at the Olympic Games in Atlanta and was also a bronze at the World Indoors in 97. And her mother, Biljana, was a triple jumper who placed 4th at the World Championships in Berlin 2009. She won 8 national championships, the first in 2002 and the last in 2018, aged 40. Now, there's a few other athletes with famous parents who competed in Jerusalem, including Renee Regis of Great Britain, who was 2nd in the 100 meters and is the daughter of John Regis, world indoor gold in the 200 meters and a multi-medalist with the British sprint relay, and Jennifer Stout, who was 4x400 meters Olympic bronze in 92. Robert Ruffini of Slovakia was 3rd in the high jump, and he is the son of his father, who has the same name, Robert, who was 2nd at the under 20 European Championships and 5th at the under 20 at the World Championships. Vanessa Mikitenko of Germany was 5th in the 3000, and she's the daughter of Irina Mikitenko, the 2 times winner of the London Marathon. And finally, Greta Donato was 12th in the long jump and is the daughter of Fabrizio Donato, who was Olympic bronze medalist in the triple jump in 2012. So to conclude our review of the European under-20s, let's take a look at the medal table. Germany, 23 medals in total, of which 8 gold. Now, very, very good performance for Sweden with 5 golds, and for Czech Republic with 3 golds. Great Britain and Northern Ireland, 2 golds, but a total of 8 medals. Then Italy, Netherlands, Switzerland, and Poland, also with 2 gold medals each. 20 countries won gold and 27 countries won medals. So that's also an interesting diversity. And among the athletes who won gold, 3 of them doubled in Jerusalem. Poland's Marek Zakrewski won both sprints, a feat which had last been achieved by Darren Campbell back in 1991. So he was understandably delighted. Netherlands' Niels Laros was entered in 4 events, the 800, 1500, 3000, and 5000. He finally contested the 1500 and the 5000, taking gold in both in slow tactical races. And Latvia's Agate Kaune, as we saw, achieved the feat in the 3000 and 5000, but she went out faster and really dominated her races. She was 28 seconds ahead of the nearest competitor in the 3000 and over 46 seconds ahead of anyone in the 5000. So brilliant performance by Agate Kaune. Several other athletes also won 2 medals. Jonathan Gran of Sweden took gold in the 3000, and he was narrowly defeated into second place by Laros in the 5000. Turkey's Dilek Koçak also took gold in the women's 1500 and bronze in the 800. Bulgaria's Božidar Saraboyukov, as we saw, 2 silvers after his great long jump. He also improved his triple jump PB to 16.25 to win a second silver, while Norway's Sofia Torgersen bagged 2 medals, a silver in the 1500 and a bronze in the 5000. So we've finished looking at various competitions held in recent week. So let's go back to the global overview of our sport and look at the best results in the last days. And there were not many senior results as athletes are in the final stages of preparation. So Marvin Bracey of the US ran 9.93 in Memphis. Piotr Lizek was back with his best result in 3 years with 5 meters 87 in the vault. 2 Italians, Zane Weir with 22 meters 15 and Leonardo Fabri with 21.84 had good final performance check in Vicenza. And finally, in the discus throw, very good mark by Slovenia's Christian C with 69 meters 99 in Jövi yesterday. And for the women, there were no top marks this week. However, under 20 and under 18 athletes registered great performances. As we saw, there was several competitions taking place for their age category. So starting with the under 20, best performances among the men are the ones that we saw already from Jerusalem. So Enzo Diesel, Mattia Furlani and Božidar Saraboyukov, Michailo Brudin, and the decathletes Amadeus Greber and Matthias Lasch. While in the women, the best performances came from Maya Guez with Shanti Jackson with her 22.35 in the 200, and an excellent performance by the US sprint relay, who clocked 42.88, the second ever on the under 20 all-time list, very close to the world record. Among the under 18s, very good performances at the Commonwealth Youth Games in Port of Spain from in the 110 hurdles. From Jamaica's Shakane Gordon, 13.16, which moves him to number 5 under 18 of all time. And not far behind, Noah Hansen of Great Britain, 13.20, moves to number 10 under 18 of all time. And among the women, in the 200 meters, very good mark by Elise Cooper. Her 22.42 is the equal 10th mark in the under 18 of all time. Now, MN News also reported a super fast 400 meters on 5 August at the AAU Junior Olympics by Jonathan Sims in the 15 to 16 age category with 45.12. That would bring him to number 2 in the under 18 all time lists, but World Athletics still does not have that result. So I didn't include it in the list. So, Javier, now it's time to get back to the top focus of today, which is let's have a look at NACAC perspectives for the World Championships. And we're going to take it by group of events, starting with sprints, hurdles, and relays, where, of course, NACAC athletes are extremely strong.
Absolutely, Anna. We're just a few days away from the World Championships, and of course, this global event will be no exception. We saw the display, and as usually, we're accustomed to see a great display of quality and world class performances by athletes from NACA, primarily in the sprints and the hurdles, some of the marquee events, and of course, if we look at the sprints with a few defending champions from last year's in Eugene, Noah Lyles, who concluded his season aiming to for the third consecutive world title, now sitting at 14:47. He also claimed on social media that he will go as fast as 19:10. That will certainly constitute a new world record. So that creates an expectation. He'll be running the 100 and 200 meter double. So this is the first time that he will be attempting both at World Championships. Switching over to the women's event, we have both defending champions in the 1 and 200 meters representing Jamaica. Shelly Ann Fraser with just a career that will surpass the length of his program. And again, she's back slowly, but her latest performances do indicate that she's ready to contend for another world title. And again, that she really performs when it matters most. So again, whenever Shelly Ann Fraser Price steps on the track, she will be certainly a favorite, regardless of where the competition stands. Obviously, particularly this year, she'll have great company, not only in Sha'Carri Richardson, who's had a tremendous season coming out of the U.S. That will be the first time that she will be competing at a World Championships, but also by Shericka Jackson, who will be attempting both. Shericka owns the world lead at 10:65, and of course, she will be also a favorite to defend her 200-meter title. And look at the quality that she has displayed over the years. And if we stick to the 200, of course, we will have Gabby Thomas, who's been in excellent form. So again, I think Budapest will demonstrate once again. I think there will be one of the main courses, if we like to look here at a big menu of events where NACAC athletes will continue to display it. And I like to also add Stephen Gardiner, who's back, the Olympic champion in the 400. But that will be interesting because Wayne Van Niekerk, the world record holder, is back. And that would only, whenever the best players are in a position to perform at their best, that would only bring out the best of each athlete. And, that would only constitute great performances. So I'm sure that 43 and a half or even low 43s might be in the cards as these two athletes and many more across the globe meet in the quarter mile race, and of course in the women's race, only 4 months after pregnancy. I kind of sleep now. Her name slips my mind right now, but of course the Olympic champion, she's gonna defend Shoni Miller-Uibo. She's back, but then she will have great company. Marilady Paulino of Dominican Republic. Of course, she wants to upgrade those silver medals at global events, and now we have a new guest that she's, absolutely her versatility across various events, not only the hurdles, but also the flat. Obviously, I'm speaking about Signe McLaughlin-Levrone, and they say, you know what? It's 1 year out before the Olympics. Why not try the 400? She did it out already in her collegiate season. Here's a photo of Marilady Paulino. Again, I saw, Signe McLaughlin run. Obviously, a great event over in New York prior to getting so close to the American record at 48:74, if my memory serves me well. So anyways, I think the sprints are really well served and NACAP athletes, and I'm being very brief here in terms of the quality coming from Jamaica, the United States, primarily with some individual athletes. And Terrence Jones from the Bahamas, he's enjoyed a great season. Obviously, if we look at the athlete from St. Lucia as well. Anyways, there's so much. Julian Alfred, I remember her disappointment, Anna, from last year, not qualifying to the final, but it's a different different reality now. And even she had a tremendous, tune-up preparation leading up to Budapest.
Yeah, Julian Alfred has been totally impressive, both indoor and outdoor. So hopefully this will be her season, and she can do well at the World Championships.
Absolutely, and I really do hope so. And if we want to maybe switch to, sticking to the sprints, but now the sprint hurlers, of course, hurling, we have Grant Holloway looking to add another world title to the initial two that he won. Obviously, from the United States, he's had a great season as well. Thus far, the American in the 110-meter hurdles. And of course, he will have obviously a strong opposition from athletes from Jamaica. We have obviously the Olympic champion Hanslet Parchman, who has not necessarily had the best season thus far. But you know what? It is a world championships when it actually matters most. So he'll have also Rashid Broadbell, who boasts the best season thus far with 12:94. And of course, in the 400-meter hurdles, we'll have another great match between Carson Walholm of Sweden and, of course, Ray Benjamin, who's had a great season thus far out of the United States. They were obviously witness to the fastest race ever in this event, dating back to the Tokyo Olympics. So it was nice to see a rematch with a healthy Walholm, of course, Benjamin, with the defending champion Alisson dos Santos of Brazil just coming back as well. So again, that's another guarantee, a nice mix for top quality performances when it comes to the 400-meter hurdles, and no exception coming in the women's event. Obviously, the defending champion, Sidney McLaughlin, opting to run the 400-meter flat. That opens the door. Obviously, Fenke Bol has had a brilliant season, but it'll be an opportunity for the likes of Dalila Muhammad as well, the former world record holder and world champion from Doha, and Sharmila Little, as well as the United States, to really, and I also like to mention, of course, the depth of the quality in the 100-meter hurdles for ladies, led by Nia Ali, of course, Kenny Harrison, and of course the Olympic champions has enjoyed a tremendous season thus far, Yasmin Camacho Quinn. So again, there's so much to choose from in that region, primarily U.S. athletes, with the depth of having even a fourth athlete sometimes as defending champions. But rest assured that when competition starts in Budapest, there will be a lot of sparks and a lot of reasons to celebrate, and I hope that will be the case, that they can carry that form and health when it really matters most.
Definitely. Huge amount of talent in the region. Now, Javier, what about the next area, middle and long distance and race walks? NACAC has made good progress in the last years.
Well, absolutely. Let me take Luis Grijalva of Guatemala. This what we call a dreamer, born and came into the United States as a young child. I mean, his condition as in that country wouldn't allow him, but it's actually his athletic prowess that really allowed him, this young athlete, to be in the forefront, working on his Spanish, obviously, but really making Guatemala proud with performances at a level alongside the top distance runners in the world along East Africa. So he's really up there, and he's now being able to, a regular fixture on the world circuit. So stay tuned. He will be a fixture, Luis Grijalva. And of course, if you like to look at all the, Mo Ahmed, a world medalist and an Olympic medalist from Canada in the 5,000, he knows when he peaks. I know it's only 3 medals, but that will be an athlete to watch out for in Budapest. Switching to the race walk, I've seen obviously a great powers from South American athletes, but certainly the Mexican contingents, primarily in the women's event with Elena Gonzalez, as well as also Liz Doctor in the 35K walk, they've had an opportunity. This is an event that has given Mexico so much success, and they're hoping to really real at a level that will potentially put them in the mix for medals. If we want to switch, Anna, briefly maybe to the jumps as well, or
no, not yet, because I want to speak a little bit more about Luis Grijalva, Because, I mean, first of all, what he did in Oregon last year was absolutely impressive. And it shows he's just not at all intimidated by running against the top guys in the world in a major competition. And I saw him in Firenze at the Diamond League, where he placed third, but, ahead of Joshua Cheptegei and other very, very strong athletes. So Luis Grijalva is really somebody that I'm looking forward to seeing again, because he's obviously very talented and he doesn't seem to feel any pressure. So that's a really good combination. So hopefully he can do as well as he did in Oregon. And
He's
his
really
training
enjoying this. He's just
partner,
like a kid. He's just like a kid
yeah, his
enjoying the
training
sport. And I
partner,
think that
William Kincaid, also made good progress this year. So they were quite happy to be doing this together.
absolutely. So I'm super happy for him. And like I said, I'm sure Eugene Martin brought kind of a breakthrough and see where he stands. And then, of course, his invitations to the Diamond League has proven that he's capable of running and being competitive out there. And then when you're already in the mix, anything can happen. There's so much depth. There's only a few hundreds of a second separating first, or maybe a second separating first to 10th. But he's one of those athletes, and he knows that he believes that he can absolutely be out there, and he's proven already on the circuit. So that will not be a surprise, but a very welcome addition, of course, especially to this Central American nation, Guatemala.
So Javier, finally, let's take a look at field events and combined events.
Well, combined events, I'll certainly. We have athletes. I would say primarily. Let's take a look primarily at the horizontal jumps. I would say Akeelia Smith of Jamaica has had a great collegiate season. The world leader in the long jump, 7:08. We'll see what that will certainly translate into. That obviously put her in the mix in the long jump competition. Leyanis Perez of Cuba, a very young athlete, very talented. She has had a brilliant European season, getting very close to the 15-meter mark. She met also, as well as Lydia Agnes Povea, her countrywoman as well of Cuba. They really contested a very good competition where world and Olympic champion Yulimar Rojas at the Central American Caribbean Games. She was only 1 centimeter shy of her medal last year in Eugene, but she's more mature now. And I think that will her momentum is building for these young athletes of Cuba. And of course, there's so much tradition in the triple jump in that island nation. And of course, no exception in the women's field. So Leyan is the latest name. And again, I'm sure that might be the recipient might be there for her to finally break into the 15-meter club. And with that, obviously, claim that much awaited medal in her career. If we switch over, if we stick to the triple jump as well.
Jaden Hibbert.
Of course, Jaden Hibbert of Jamaica is still an U20 athlete. Can you believe it? Had a tremendous standout season in the U.S. NCAA, or collegiate season. Now standing at 1787. Can you believe it? I saw him compete at the World U20 Championships. If we say someone who's made a tremendous progress, he finally raised that 1750 world mark dating back to way back then from Victor. Anyway, so he's both indoors and out. And of course, Jamaica's always been well known for horizontal jumps. Tajay Gale, obviously, with the long jump title. But this is a supreme talent. And I think the triple jump would only going to get better. I know there's a great Cuban contingent. We also have not only that, and there's U.S. athletes in the past, Christian Taylor. We may well be seeing here the next athlete going into the 18-meter club. But not only that, the 1829, I believe, is within his reach, and only has to say in the triple jump there's so much risk because I was actually talking to a triple jump and only go, it's actually 10 times your body weight when you actually do your first hop. So as long as you stay healthy, this Jaden can really achieve anything in the sport. And I think that will be the key question. And I'm sure he will try to really be conscious of that, being healthy to have a long career like the likes of Christian Taylor. So looking forward to seeing him now at a senior level after seeing him in obviously in Cali last year and again, maybe claim a first goal ever for Jamaica in this event. There's been success for that nation in the women's triple. Now is maybe is the time to really convert that into added success now in the men's triple jump.
Okay, let's go with the throws then.
Of course, in the throws, there's also a good representation here for the NACAC events, primarily in the women's the shot put. Of course, with we have the world record holder in the men's jump. But switching to the latest first, Maggie Ewan, the world leader, world champion, Chase Ely, and Sarah Mitten of Canada. That is in the shot put. Valerie Ullman, the world champion in the discus. And again, she's had a few events here and there, but of course, she's very competitive. And the fact I think that talent of being a former dancer and how she can really rotate in the circle really help her a lot. And, obviously coming into this meet with a 70-meter toss already. And so again, so much depth that we've seen only primarily prior to in the few years, only in the men's shot put coming out of the U.S., but only we see now the diversity that has really expanded to the women's discus, the women's hammer as well. We have a couple of athletes, Brooke Anderson going over 80 meters this year. We have Deanna Price, the former world champion as well, coming back as well. And I'll also like to mention Cameron Rogers, who's had a tremendous season thus far, seated at 78 meters from Canada. She had silver last year. Someone who is really enjoying a great season this far, and look out for her. That could well be a full NACAC podium. We'll see. And in the women's hammer, so something that we'll certainly keep an eye on. And Anna, last but not least, but of course, the men's shot put with Ryan Krauser again taking his world record to a new level right now. He's someone obviously competed last year in his home state, Oregon, and this time around is no exceptions. He will be the man to beat in the men's in the men's shot put. The question will be whether the conditions are there conducive to extend that world record further away for this young American Ryan Krauser. So, and of course, last year he was joined by two fellow Americans on the podium. That was a medal sweep. So, obviously there's great motivation. Joel Kovac, I remember last year having that conversation because he's got family in Hungary. So that would be an extra motivation for the 2019 world champion to really be right there in the mix for the medals in the men's shot put. Whatever motivation athletes can get, whether it's their season or connections to Hungary or any particular personal connections that they enjoy the season thus far, I'm sure that Joe Kovacs will be one of them.
Wow. So combined events?
Combined events, I like to start first and with the women's. Obviously, the heptathlon, Anna Holm going so close to the 7,000 point score in Gotses. Obviously, such a great performer. You saw her last year claiming her first global medal with a bronze in Eugene. She has only continued to improve. And then a recent interview with, she said, certainly the long jump, that might be an area where she would have some room for improvement. Obviously, she's getting a lot of, support and guidance as well for the world record holder, Jackie Joyner Kersey. That's 7,291, the world record. And I believe Anna, that's where, not necessarily in Budapest, but I think she's such a young athlete there. She has so much to improve. And obviously with that longevity that unfortunately Niafatu Tiam, who's the defending world champion, will not be there. That would have certainly guaranteed a great competition for these two young athletes. But again, Anna really enjoying her season thus far and certainly try to improve that, getting close to the 7,000 point score. Very exclusive. I believe only 3 athletes have scored that over 7,000 points. So Anna, we can see something special for your name from your namesake. That will be a nice treat. We have to wait.
Amazing. I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan of Anna Hall because she's just such a super talented athlete, and she's just really fresh and spontaneous. I mean, in Firenze, she ran the 400 hurdles and she came third. She beat 5 specialists. It's just crazy. And unfortunately, Nafi will not be in Budapest because that was really the event I was most looking forward to at the World Championships.
Absolutely, and then just switching briefly to the men's side of the decathlon with 2 Canadians, Damian Werner coming back. He had an injury in the 400 meters last year, could not defend his title, but of course he had. I mean, I saw both Damian Werner as well as Piers Lepage, the silver medalist last year, world. I mean, up until the NCAA or the nationals, the NCAAs in early June, he was a world leader. Piers Lepage. They did a few events at the Canadian Championships. They are ready, and of course they will be competing in the second half of the event, second week. And that might an opportunity for Damien to really claim this title back. Not only 2 Canadians, there will be other athletes from Europe in the mix as well, the United States as well. But again, an opportunity for these 2 athletes to contend once again, and of course push each other throughout 10 events. And it's nice when you have that rivalry at home already, as primarily Damien is really good at certain events, like obviously the 100 meters long jump and the 100 meter hurdles. That gives him a lot of points. Piers Lepage very solid in the throws as well as the pole vault. And I think, although while they do not train together, and again, it's an opportunity to have that. And this is no secret in combined events. There's so much camaraderie as a result of spending so much time together. And it's brilliant to see, no matter how you perform, coming together at the very end, all athletes completing that grueling 1,500 meters for men, 800 for women, is one of the most beautiful pictures that we can see in the sport, that no matter what individual effort you put out, you display, they all come together. And then, of course, it will be, again, another opportunity for these athletes to perform. There's a couple of athletes that I look forward to in the decathlon as well, because of the nature of this event, 10 events over 10 days. And it's so unique in that nature. This time around is a couple of NACAC athletes in the names of Canada's the Lepage and Werner, and looking forward to what they can do in Budapest and perhaps emulate Anna Hall via alongside their fellow North American athletes in the combined events. I'm sure they will.
Thank you, Javier. That was really interesting. So now I'd like to highlight some cool athletics news. Javelin legend Barbara Spotakova, who only competed sporadically this year, improved her seasonal best to 60 meters 32 this week. This means that since 2004, the double Olympic and triple world champion has thrown over 60 meters in 19 of 20 consecutive years, only missing out in 2018 when she gave birth to her second child. So amazing, Barbara Spotakova. So now we really are coming to the end of the show. So let's look at upcoming events. And of course, it's all about the World Championships, which start in 8 days in Budapest and run until 27 August. So all our eyes will going to be focused there in the next 2 weeks. So next week on Friday 18, we'll be reporting from Budapest with lots of athletes interviews before the start of the championships. So see you next week on Love Athletics to look together at the highlights, comments, and analysis of what's been happening on our sport over the past 7 days. A big thank you to Javier, and thank you all for watching.
Thank you so much, Anna. All the best in Budapest, and thank you again for this opportunity.
Thank you. Ciao, ciao.
See you next time. Bye-bye.